I remember getting the phone call. I remember my dad saying, I've secured the job, I've secured the house, we're moving to England. And at the time I was 15, back at home in Portugal, thinking to myself, why is this happening? Wishing that he hadn't secured the house, wishing that we wouldn't move, and just thinking to myself, why can I not just have the same life that my friends here in Portugal are going to have? Finish secondary school, going to a good university, and eventually get a job and be happy. Why does it have to be different for me? And why do I have to go through this whole journey? And it all seemed like a struggle. It wasn't until I went to the new school, I adapted to a new culture, adapted to new people, had to learn a new language, had to double study because this wasn't my mother tongue, that it didn't sink in for me. And everything, again, seemed like a struggle. But what did I not know is what all of these struggles would become my proudest achievements. So what happened was I found opportunities. I found out that I could work at 16. I found out that I could drive at 17, 1 year younger than back at home. And I thought, I need to do something with this. I need to do something that will eventually make me happy here. So I decided to take these opportunities. I decided to go out and get myself a job. So I printed a few CVs out, I went to shops and restaurants, and I got myself a job by the time I was 16. What was the next thing? The next thing was to drive. I got myself a driving instructor, learned how to drive, got a driving license, and after that, I saved up to get myself a car. I achieved that. And I achieved so much in such a short amount of time, and that's what I thought it was going to make me happy. Those short-term goals and achievements were what were going to lead me to my biggest achievement. And I decided that after that, I wanted to just increase my happiness. And looking at my goals and my achievements, my biggest one would be to become the CEO of an international company, the CEO of a really, really popular company. And of course, if you're seen as a successful person by being a CEO, if you have the money, if you live comfortably, you will just be successful and happy. That was my thought at the time. My idea of happiness while growing up, I mean, looking at the traditional way, as we learn at school, to get good grades. They teach you to get good grades, and they teach you that's going to lead you to a good future and be happy. But do they really teach you to be happy? And these were my thoughts. And it wasn't until I actually went to university, I made new connections, I made new relationships, and it wasn't until I learned it wasn't until I read a really important book and had to answer a question on an interview, which I was not prepared for, that my whole perspective of being happy and of success didn't change. So my dream of wanting to be a CEO of a company would now be the dream of being the CEO of my own happiness. So going to university, discovering another side of myself, meeting new people, all with different goals, all with different perspectives, made me see a new angle of life and how people think. And I started to ask, how do I think? And whilst learning more about myself, I actually read a really important book for me. It's called Happier by Tal Ben-Shahar. And whilst reading it, I actually got really disappointed because I found myself almost trapped into one of the least long-term happiness levels, called the rat race concept. Rat race concept meaning you're always racing to get to those achievements and goals that you set yourself to. And by this, I mean, for example, momentaneous happiness. You'll only get the sense of that joy when you get to that goal. You only think you're going to be happy when you get there. And you're not enjoying the process. That goal may not even be so realistic, or it might just be too soon. And you think you only achieved happiness when you get there. But is that really happiness, or is it relief? And then what happens when you get there? That's what I started to think to myself. What happens if I eventually get to that CEO position? What else am I going to look for? And I think as people and myself, I was always looking at the next best thing instead of actually enjoying the process. And instead of taking each day as an opportunity to make myself happier while working towards my goals. And because of this, my perspective changed. And it changed because more than the need of being considered successful by society, which is imposed on us since being young, the need of fulfilling your basic needs are the first steps to a happy life. I mean, look at the hierarchy of Maslow's. I think we sometimes forget about this. We all need those basic needs, the security, the relationships, the self-esteem, yet we're always going towards achieving self-actualization before even thinking about everything important that comes after this, and before this. So I started to ask myself the question, what is really important for me? Is it really getting that big title, having the power name, the finances that's really going to make me happy? What else am I going to look for? What about all the years leading up to it? Am I just living and not enjoying the process? Is it going against what society dictates as success? Really much of a bold move. And these were my constant thoughts in my head about what is then going to make me happy? What is really important for me? And I wasn't sure still then about why I kept thinking that I needed a goal. I needed that goal, which would eventually make me the happiest level I would ever be. And that dream, and that's something to look towards. And it's always good to have something to look towards, but it's always good to be realistic as well. And one day, at a practice interview back at university, which I had not prepared for, I got asked really 3 simple questions. And I had heard these before, but I had never thought them about myself. And these simple questions, but very important, were, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Why this company? Why this role? And at the time, the company or the role weren't really the key to my discovery. I think the key to my discovery was the answer that I came up with on the spot, because what I thought was, I need to come up with something truthful and something that really means a lot to me, relating to myself. And so the words that came out of my mouth were actually, the Inês of a year ago would have said, I want to be the CEO of a multinational company and have that high paid job position, because that's what's going to make me successful. That's what I thought that was going to make me thrive in life. But the Inês of now says that she really wants to find herself in a happy place. She wants to see herself happy and where she can fulfill her needs every day and make herself happier each day for long term. And I believe that at the time when I was saying this to the interview, a little light bulb lit up in my head, because I said that I wanted to make an impact. That's when I discovered that my whole goal and my whole purpose of life was to make that impact. Make that impact on something I believe in. Make that impact on the people around me and on the people that I may not have even met yet. Because truthfully, that is what's going to make me the happiest. And that's when I understood that everything changed for me. My whole perspective of happiness and success. And so why is it that having the social status associated with the good salary and the power, what makes you more of a valuable person or a more successful person? Because are you going to be happy in the end with that? Why does it make you more recognizable? What if I just want to choose my own path and success as to be the master of my own happiness by constantly increasing my idea every day in all aspects of life? Instead of choosing the world's idea of success, being the high-paid job, the title, the promotion, the house, the car, the money. And when it all changed for me, it was when I knew my perspective of every day from now on would be different. My relationship and my view of things was different. My relationship with myself improved. I now will think about what is really important for me. And I will care about the little things that make me the happiest, as we all should, as much as we can. And I am still young and I have a lot to learn. But I know that my perspective of now will certainly be taken on throughout my career journey and my personal journey. And don't get me wrong, to be the CEO of a multinational international company would be amazing. But for me, to be the CEO of my own happiness instead is even better. And I believe that people's versions of happiness should not be what society dictates to be success. Thank you.